Hello there. Holy crap. Talk about being caught with your pants down. I'm the Wolfman. Thanks for tuning in. And what I'm sitting on right now is called a Privy, also known as a Kaibo, or keep your bowels open, also known as a Thunderbox. And what these boxes are designed for is basically for pooping. When you're out in the woods, in the wilderness, oftentimes you'll see these come along in campsites. Sometimes they have a lid that will fold down over top of them. Some of them are even elaborate and have a toilet seat attached to them. But you find all sorts of different types, all sorts of different sizes. Some of them pretty nasty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through how I built this box from start to finish. Now the amazing thing about this project is this box and all the materials cost me nothing. The most expensive thing I bought was actually the nails, which are about $60 for the air nailer. Everything else was no charge whatsoever. How I went about that is I went to a local hardware store and other industries and places around me that have skids or pallets, depending on where you live in the world, and I asked for them, and they give them to you for free. I brought them home, I broke them down into some piles, and I made this beautiful box, which is going to end up going to a campsite. So let's take a look here and see how I built it. So the first thing we do before we can begin any project is start by laying out the materials. So this is all the materials, and like I just said, this stuff was completely free. This is some really great quality wood that would have normally just found its way into a landfill. The reason we got it free is I simply went to a local hardware store and said, hey, I need all your old skid wood. And this is all the wood that they gave me for free. It's a really good quality. The next thing we're going to need is an air nailer. Now you can use a hammer as well. I prefer an air nailer just simply because it goes a lot faster, but they can be quite expensive. I have a chop saw here. Now this chop saw, also known as a miter saw, is going to be good for all my cuts. I can use a traditional skill saw as well, but I like this because it's a little bit more stable in my hand. It sits right on the ground, a little bit less dangerous, and I have a little bit more control over it. So let's go ahead here and begin by setting up the frame. Now because I don't have a whole lot of 2x4 like materials here, I'm going to make this an external frame box. And how I'm going to do that is make these into little corners. So I'm going to take this and this, and we're going to put them together at a 90-degree angle, fire some nails in them, and then we're going to put our wood on the inside. It's going to be almost as strong as an internal frame post, but it's also going to look a lot nicer for the box. So I've decided to make this 30 inches high. So what I'm going to do is simply take my measuring tape and put it here at 30 inches. And 30 inches is also about 76 centimeters. So we're going to go ahead here and make our couple of marks like this. And I always mark it in a couple of spots, so I make sure that when I go ahead and make my cut, it's nice and straight. I have a couple of reference points. The next thing we're going to do after I've done this is cut them and then start nailing them together. So now that we have our board all measured, let's go ahead here and make the cut. Now I'm going to need 4 of these just for the front, and then I'm going to need 4 of these cuts for the back, and then we can actually start to put the substructure together. So now with all our corners cut, the next job is pretty simple. We're simply going to take our wood like this, and we're going to make our corners. And how we're just going to do that is line these up just like this. And then we're just going to, like I see a crack in here, so I'm going to put it this way. Now that we got this done, we're just going to take our air nailer here, fire some nails into it. There we go. Now it doesn't really matter. You can see it split it a little bit, but really it's okay because it's only for a privy. Otherwise I'd be a little bit more concerned about that splitting, but I mean this is really tough. So we're going to go ahead here and finish up with the other 4 and make our corners. now that we have all our corner pieces cut, we're simply going to take them and we're going to put them like this, just like that. And then now, to start to assemble the actual box, we're going to take our cross pieces. Now this is just an example. The actual ones will be a little wider. So we're going to put them together like this. We're going to fire some air nailers in there, and there's going to be our one piece. Then we're going to go this way, followed by the back corner, and the project is almost done. Obviously for a privy, it's only going to be covered on the top and not the bottom, so all the stuff can fall down. So we're going to go ahead here now, get our width measured, and then we're going to start cutting some of these planks that I have here, putting them across, and make our first piece. So this process is almost identical to the last process that we did, where we're basically going to measure, cut, with the exception that the difference is this is going to be 32 inches or 81 centimeters. So we're going to do it here, and then here, and then here. Now I'm just going to take this over to my saw, give it a cut, and then measure out, and we're going to take a whole lot more material other than just 8. We're going to put our panels across, and then our first piece is actually almost finished. So we're just going to go ahead here and we'll do that, and we'll get started. So for this next step, I have all my cut cross pieces and I have my corners. Now, in order for me to work so that I can put the nails into the cross pieces and not sticking out, I have a couple of little tiny pieces of wood right here, and they're going to be help me almost like a little bit of a jig to hold everything together. So I'm going to take my first piece and I'm going to set it here. Then I'm going to take my corner mount and I'm going to put it over top, just like this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a nail, line all the pieces up together, and then just fire it right on in. I want to make sure when I'm doing this that I'm checking to make sure that I got a pretty good seal here. There we go. And the next thing is we'll put 2 nails in here. Now that this piece is completed, you can kind of see it starting to take shape. So we have our nice, this is our external frame. We have our cross pieces right here. And yeah, so now we're going to build another one of these. For this will be the back wall and then the side walls, and then put the top on it. Alright, so now I have my next step done. I've got all my cross pieces cut, and I have my front and back cut. The next thing to do is actually to start to assemble it into the box. I didn't bother showing you me cutting the wood, because you just saw that when I cut these pieces. So my next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stand this guy up, just like this. And yeah, and then we're going to basically take some pieces of wood and start going across, and then we're going to attach this side up. So we'll go ahead here and get that set up. So now that I put all my planks in place, just set them gently in place like this. I notice I have just the right amount of wood here for this. And yeah, so you notice this is like a pressure treated wood. It's kind of that greenish color, but believe it or not, this wood was also no charge. I got this again from a local hardware store. I just asked them and they're like, hey, you want it? Haul it away. So what next step I'm going to do here is I'm just going to measure all these pieces to make sure I'm all at the right length, fire them on, and then the last step, of course, is going to be to cut the hole on the top. So going to go ahead here and we'll measure that right up. lumber's all cut, the next thing I'm going to do is examine each piece and just line her up here. Now this piece here still has a bit of bark, so what I'm going to make sure I do is that I put this like this, so that when I cut my toilet hole, that piece is just going to be cut right out. It looks like I've got another piece of that here. So again, put that here, so we'll cut it out, next one on, and so on. So I've got myself almost all lined up. Get my nail gun here. Yeah. All right, so I'll line these pieces up and put a couple nails in her. Basically, we got our box built here, so we can hop on it like this. Now, the only unfortunate thing that I really don't like about these boxes is they see my feet. I don't know if you can see it. They don't really even touch the ground. I find that really frustrating. So what I'm probably going to do to make that better is I'm going to build a little step stool on there, especially if children or anything else are going to be using this. The next thing I do is see kind of where I line up with some of the splits in the wood. We're going to put a hole in this wood, so all of the stuff that we get rid of will go down into the hole, and then we're going to take some of the other wood and build around the hole, build a little frame. That way when we're sitting on it like this, we're not going to be in danger of the worst thing in the world, and that's falling in because this thing's broken up. So let's take some measurements of this wood and let's get that hole cut and take it from there. So now that we have our sacred hole put in, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of the scrap wood underneath this. We're going to put it like this, basically, and like this. And then what that's going to do is make sure that when someone sits on it, you're not going to be putting any extra pressure on any of the sideboards, and it's going to make sure it can support whatever weight happens to be on it. The project after that is basically done, unless you want to put a toilet bowl or a lid or something on it. But yeah, so it's really coming along. So the last step that we're going to do here, I have my piece of wood on the other side, and I have it held in place here by my lovely assistant. There she is, and she's going to hold on, holding it right here for now. That way when the nails go through, because they are going to go through this board, she's in no danger. All right, so you ready in there? So the box is basically completed. The only thing I could maybe do if I wanted to spruce it up, like I say, I could put an actual toilet seat on here. If I had an old hinge that I could get, I could put the hinge on here and make a flap for it. But other than that, it is completed. And I might put a step down there so your feet aren't dangling, which, like I say, I really find annoying. But the project is done. I'd like to thank you for watching this video with me. If you have any comments or questions about anything that you've seen in this video, please feel free to do that below. I'm the Wolfman. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing.